We see people and we wonder, this person was so much of a gurmukh. They used to tie a dastar before, they used to keep their case. What happened? Why are they now cutting away their case? Why are they now in this situation? When someone keeps doing pop, they get comfortable in pop. You give an inch to Maya, you give an inch to Kaljug, and Kaljug takes a whole yard. And that's the way it works. You take one step towards Kaljug and you just slip. You slip down a very slippery slope and there's no end. There's no end to that madness. And eventually people end up in a very dark zone. So that's exactly what's happening here to Sri Jagjyotmati. She's in a dark zone, and in that darkness, money, possessions is what you crave. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Sadh Sangat Ji, welcome to the next session. We finished 9 Charitras so far. The last Charitar was a part 1 Charitar. In the 10th Charitar, we'll be seeing the part 2 of that Charitar. We're talking about Sri Jagjyotmati. We're talking about her husband, the Shahukar. We're talking about her servant, Chitrkala. And we're talking about the man she is committing into a relationship with, the king, whose name Guru Sahib will reveal in this Charitar, in the 10th Charitar. So far, we're just told that it's a king. These guys, all these characters, they live in Lahore. So I'm just recapping the previous Charitar for you. And we're not told the name of the king. But in this Charitar, we'll find out the name of the king as well. Guru Sahib, the theme of this story, the theme of this Charitar, both part 1 and part 2, will become clear in this part of the session. So, Aao, Sadh Sangat Ji, let's take our surtiyan birtiyan, focusing on Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj Charan Kamal, and we'll get straight into it. Ji. Vaheguru, Vaheguru Sahib Ji, Dohra. Tavan lodiya hai sahotriya, mari jo risakhaye, kiya charitar tin mantriyan nrip so kahyo sunaye. So, Sri Jagjyotmati, she was very, ris means angry. She was very angry at her Lordiyahe, her Dasi, her servant. Sri Jagjyotmati, the wife of the Shahukar, Sahotriya means the wife of the Shahukar, the banker. She scolded the Dasi, she scolded the servant. She even gave her a beating, Mari. Why? Because of the Charitar she played, of the play she played, yeah? Because she went and told what they were doing to the Shahukar. Yeah? So now remember the overlaying story of the mantris talking to a Nirip, the advisors talking to the king Raja Charitr Singh. So kahyo sunaye. So Guru Sahib is saying that the mantris are still speaking to the king. The story is sitting in that bowl, that overlaying story of Raja Charitr Singh being advised by his advisors on not to execute Hanuman Singh with the limited information he has, right? So for that, please, if you haven't seen the first video, the first Charitar, you'll find more information there about Hanuman Singh and Charitr Singh. Chaupai Chotan lage roho man ano jaye Sayyid so karyo yarano. So what happens? Right, this Dasi, Chitrkala, she now gets more angry. Yeah, when she gets beat up and she gets scolded, she doesn't sit back and take all that with humility. And in turn she comes back and she gets even more mad, right? And that's you have to kind of see who your enemy is, right? If your enemy is someone that is like fire, the more you feed fire wood, it's going to grow, in this case, that's who Chitrkala is. She's fire, that's why her name is Chitrkala. The creativity of play, Guru Sahib has called her for a reason. She's just going to grow and get out of control, and a figure like Chitrakala affects all our houses, you know. Jino pa klesh karande hain, jino pa kaljug karande hain, you know. We often refer to kaljug, you know, we say, oh, kaljug aa gaya ghar vich, hai na, or kaljug has entered our homes now. Why? Because, you know, my sister, she's on the wrong path, and my brother, he's doing the wrong thing, my son or my daughter. We hear all these stories all the time, you know, from Gursikh Parvars as well, that one person in our family has gone astray, Kaljug aa gaya kare, you know, Kaljug has entered our home, you know. And that Kaljug here is being presented as Chitrakala, you know. Guru Sahib is giving Kaljug a character, you know. And the more you fight Kaljug, you know, the more it grows, you know. You can't fight fire with fire, you know. There has to be a different solution, you know. And here, what's happening is because Sri Jagjyotmati is gone astray, you know. Her intellect was supposed to be of Jagjyot, right? The Jyot of the world. Her intellect was supposed to be the light of the world. Her intellect was supposed to be that pure, right? But she's already gone astray by cheating on her husband. Now every move she makes is like fire, you know. Kaljug has already entered, you know, and she's trying to fight Kaljug with fire. She's fighting fire with fire. The fire just grows, you know. That's not the way to end the fire. The way to end the fire is, even now, if someone were to seek the Sharan of Akal Purkh Vaheguru Ji, to seek the Sharan of Guru Sahib and ask for forgiveness, kyunki galtiyan to saariyan to ho jandiyan. No matter how big that mistake is, Vaheguru Ji is all forgiving, you know. But when a person is so deep into their pop, they don't think that, you know. They still feel like they have the steering wheel in their hands, you know. And that's what Jagjyotmati is doing. She feels like she has a steering wheel in her hands, so that's why she scolded Chitrakala. But scolding Kaljug won't help, right? So now Chitrakala, what she's doing is that after getting hurt, scolded, Rohoman Anno, right? She gets even more angry in her mind. Ros man vich aa gaya, na? And then what does she do is Jai Sayyid so karyo iranno. She goes and makes a friend with a Sayyid, you know. Again, we're in the environment we're looking at, the scene we're looking at is Lahore. So Sayyid is, we covered this in our previous session as well. Sayyid are known to be very respected in the Islamic community. They are seen to be religious leaders, religious people who hold a very ucha darja, hold a very big status in the Islamic community. So she goes ahead and makes a big friend, basically. You know, she herself realizes that she's just a servant. She doesn't have much powers to herself, right? Financially or social powers. But a Sayyid has more reach, a Sayyid has more outreach, a Sayyid has more social powers in terms of influencing others. Nit tehe apne sadan bulava. So she tries to create that friendship with him by calling him over her house every single day. Nit. Sahotriya ko darab lutava. And then what does the Sayyid do? The Sayyid comes and under the scheme of Chitrakala, so Chitrakala is planning a bigger scheme now. She wants revenge, right? She wants revenge for how she was beat up, how she was trashed by Sri Jagjyotmati. She wants revenge, but not just on Sri Jagjyotmati. She wants a revenge on the king as well for rejecting her, you know. So she wants revenge on both these guys, right? Now what she's doing is that she's first having Sri Jagjyotmati feel comfortable with her new friend, the Sayyid, you know. So the Sayyid comes every single day into her house. And remember, she's a servant, so her house is Sri Jagjyotmati's house. The king is coming every single day, and what the king does is darab lutava. Darab means money, yeah. So he, lutava means to give. He's continuously giving money to the Sahotriya. I remember Shahukar Istri, the Shahukar's wife, the banker's wife, who is Sri Jagjyotmati. So every single day he will come and not only has Chitrakala captivated the Sayyid to do what she wants him to do, but also she's now having the Sayyid create a bond with Sri Jagjyotmati, making her comfortable to believe the Sayyid, right? And so how is that happening? The Sayyid is coming and giving her money. Yeah? The money is affecting Sri Jagjyotmati's mind and persuading her to feel comfortable. Why? Because again, she's already in the path. She's already strayed from the right path. You know, she's already been cheating. She's almost been caught cheating as well. Now the path of what is right, what is dharam, all these things are out of reach almost. You know, when someone keeps doing pop, they get comfortable in pop. You know, you give an inch to Maya, you give an inch to Kaljug, and Kaljug takes a whole yard. You know, and that's the way it works. You know, people, we see people and we wonder, this person was so much of a gurmukh. You know, they used to tie the star before, they used to keep their case. What happened? Why are they now cutting away their case? Why are they now in this situation? You know, it's because you give an inch to Maya. You know, you give an inch to Kaljug, and the Kaljug comes and takes a whole yard. You know, you take one step towards Kaljug and you just slip. You slip down a very slippery slope, and there's no end where that slope will take you. There's no end to that madness, right? And eventually people end up in a very dark zone. You know? So that's exactly what's happening here to Sri Jagjyotmati. She's in a dark zone, you know, and in that darkness, money, possessions is what you crave. Okay? Dohra sahotiya ki khaat par ek din tahe savai. So one day, on the bed, khaat means manja, the bed, of the Sahotiya, right, of Sri Jagjyotmati. Ek din tahe savai. She has the Sayyid, Chitrkala has a Sayyid go to sleep on top of the manja of Sri Jagjyotmati. Sahotriya so agmana kahyo bachan yo jai. And when Sri Jagjyotmati comes home one day, Chitrkala's home, she has Sayyid sleeping on her bed. Sri Jagjyotmati is told by Chitrkala these words, these bachans. Tavanan nirpat ahit pagyo beg balavato he. She says, Sri Jagjyotmati, you shouldn't be here right now. You should go straight to the king. You should go straight to your friend, the Raja, because he's calling you right now. He said, Beg avo. Beg means right away. Beg balavat. He said, come as fast as you can. Chalo abba uthe tum kahan baat sravan tarmo he. She says, Meri baat sun lo. Baat sravan. Baat means my words. Sravan means to listen. Tar mohim. Tar means to rakhna. Mohim means meri. Meri tusi baat sun lo. Believe what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. You should go right away. Chalo ab uth tum tahan. Right away. Honi tusi jao. Don't come inside the house. Go right away to the king. He's waiting for you. Nripatado hira tume tumre atahit pag beg chalo ut taha tum jahan bart hai aag. And she's saying that the Raja is waiting for you. He's standing and he waits to see your presence. Atahit pag, with so much love, right? So she is creating a illusion within her, in her mind. Now what happens here is that Chitrkala is using her emotions, Sri Jagjyotmati's emotions against her. She knows her secrets. She knows how much she loves the king. And because of that, you know, she's able to pinpoint that emotion of attachment and use it against her, right? And this is a prime reason at the very end, the mantris will have a conversation with the king and kind of go through what Moh does to you, right? Moh blinds you. And on top of that, if you were to reveal your attachment to someone else, if you were to reveal how much you love a person to a third person, you know, that person can use that against you. You know, today relationships are all about publicizing. Relationships are all about presenting your private love to the world, you know. But that's very dangerous for you and for your relationship, because if a wrong person were to see where you are, what you're doing, how you interact with your partner on a very intimate level, if they're able to see that, tomorrow they can do something to affect your relationship. Tomorrow your relationship can be jeopardized just because you wanted to show it to the world. You know? There's just some things that are meant to be private between two partners. There's just some conversations, some emotions that are meant to be private between both of them. And this is the vidya given in Pratin Granths. So because this Dasi, this servant, she knows the relationship between the king and Sri Jagjyotmati. She knows the relationship between the two. She knows what they're doing behind the Shahukar's back. She's able to intervene and make this plan, make this play happen. Right? So she said, go right now, and you should go. When you get there, how would you know that you're in the right place? Beg chalo utataha tum jahan bart hai aag. But there's a fire going on there. You know, she's saying that he's waiting for you with a lot of love, but there's a fire going on there. This fire could be internal. It could be just a way of saying that the king has a lot of fire, love for you. That's why you have to go there. Or it could be something physical. We'll find out as the story progresses. सुनत बचन त्रियत हो चली कहो निरपतस जो सो जाता है. So once Jagjyotmati heard this, she ran to the king, and soye ya tumri rahi gaho charan do jai. And right away, Chitrkala, she runs through the back door and she runs towards the king's palace as well. She's taking a different route. She gets there before Sri Jagjyotmati, and she tells the king, she says that Soye ya tumri, your friend Jagjyotmati, she's talking to the king now, she's sleeping. Gaho charan do jai, go to her, she's evading you. Wake her up by grabbing her 2 feet. When you grab her 2 feet, she's sleeping right now, grab her 2 feet, wake her up, she'll get up, and you guys will be together. Aap agmane door kya sadyo ho kehyo sunai. Gehi kripan jagat roho jinna geh ko ai. And Chitrkala comes back. I remember Sayyid is sleeping. The Sayyid is sleeping in that same bed, right? In which the king will come to, thinking that it's his girlfriend. Chitrkala comes back home and she tells Sayyid, she says that stay awake and hold your kirpan. Gehe kirpan jagat raho. Hold your kirpan and stay awake. And jinna gehe ko ai, so no one can grab you. Stay underneath your blanket. Pretend like you are Sri Jagjyotmati. Let the king come and you take the kirpan and kill him. Right? So she's orchestrating a plan to kill both the king and Jagjyotmati. Chor javat aag jahe teh triye pahunchi jai. And when Jagjyotmati gets to the place to meet the king, so she sends Jagjyotmati to a place where, so there is a physical fire. So the nishani of where the king would be was where the fire was, right? So Jagjyotmati was heading towards a fire, right? And that was the nishani that the king would be there. But instead, there was no king there, right? The king was in his palace, and the king was coming from a different direction to her house, but she was going to a different direction to see the king, which he was not really there. When she gets there, it's a huge fire there. So she gets to the right spot, but there's actually a bunch of thugs there. So Chitrkala hires a bunch of thugs, Chor Jarawat jere chor yaar hunde hai. She hires a bunch of thugs, and Jahe Tehe Triye Pahunchi Jaye. Once Jagjyotmati gets there, she sees like, what's going on here? There's a whole gang here. Loot kood ko diyo gehre gade Dubai. And what does those thugs do? The thugs were ordered by Chitrkala to kill Jagjyotmati. Yeah? So Jagjyotmati is then loot kood, onu maar dinde bechari nu. So they kill her off and throw her in a gada, in a toy, like, and toa means like a hole You know, they just throw her somewhere in the dumpsters basically, and so she's done with. Now the king is left. Right? Adil charan shuvanando kal prayer nrip annyo. Now the nrip, the Raja, has annyo. Oh, aa gaya, hai na? He's reached Jagjyotmati's house. Jagjyotmati is already dead. She reached the house, and remember, he's told that she's sleeping in this bed, right? So there's a person sleeping in the bed. It's the Sayyid. He has a blanket on top of her. The king comes in thinking it is Jagjyotmati, and he grabs both feet like he was told to. And Guru Sahib says, Kal Prayer, है ना? कि काल ने प्रेरणा की हुई है. Kal Purkh has orchestrated the death of this king. You know, Kal means death, right? Kal Prayer, that death has called the king over to the house. You know, it's his time to go too now. You know, ora vi jara sama aa gaya ni, oh aa gaya. So Charan Shuvan, Chuan means to grab, to touch. Charan means the feet. He grabs hold of the feet of the Sayyid, thinking it is Jagjyotmati, letting her know that, hey, I'm here now, upon your call. Chitrkala ko bachan satkar manyo. And in that moment, the Sayyid remembers the bachans, the words of Chitrkala, and unu sat manda ki this is my cue that I'm going to now kill this person who's holding my feet. Uthat te ko tab bin kav hareo. Right away, the blanket comes off. He takes his teg out, his sword out, and with one swift blow, he knocks the head off the king. Ho Sugar Singh Raja ko hanhi dario, and he is able to kill the Raja, whose name Guru Sahib just reveals is Sugar Singh. So I just want to pause right here before we continue to just dissect what's going on. Jagjyotmati, Sugar Singh. These two people are in a relationship that is unknown to their respective partners. All we know is that Jagjyotmati has a husband. We don't know anything about the king. But Jagjyotmati is cheating on her husband with this Raja, whose name has been revealed, Sugar Singh. Now, we talked about Jagjyotmati, Sri Jagjyotmati, the name that Guru Sahib gives his character. We talked about what the name means, right? The intellect that is so uttam, Sri meaning uttam, so high that it lights up the world, right? That type of intellect. Sugar Singh, Sugar means uttamakar. Sugar means that house that is the highest. Sugar means that house that is the most beautiful, the most highest house there is. Sugar Singh, yeah? And Guru Sahib calls him a Singh. He's a Rajasi, and it can also be talking to us. Yeah. So what happens? These two people were meant to be, and the story starts off as well by saying Sri Jagjyotmati was very respected. You know, she was very respected. She was known to be one of the highest ladies there were in Lahore. You know, but she takes a turn for the worst, right? She goes down this path of committing adultery, and she ruins it for herself. Now, both people, they're meant for the best, but they took a turn for the worst. Right? Heere jaisa janam hai, kodi badle jaye. You know, what Guru Sahib, one way of dissecting the story is that Guru Sahib is trying to tell us this janam that we have is worth millions, is worth billions. There's no price you could put onto this life that you have. You know, Heere jaisa janam hai. This janam is worth jewels. Kodi badle jaye. But it is, badala means to trade. It is traded away for kodi. It is traded away for mere shells. It is traded away for something that you can just find on the beach. You know, seashells. There's no cart of seashells, right? There's no seashells aren't worth anything because there's so much, right? Worth comes from how much of a demand you have of something, how much quantity you have of something. If the quantity is low, then the worth is high, right? The quantity of this life is so high. Why? Because the time you have in this life is very short. The time you have in this janam is very short. You're not going to be here forever. It's time to use this body for what you're meant to do. Pei prapat manuk dehuriya गोबद मिलन की यही तेरी बरिया. This is now your chance, this is now your opportunity, this is now your turn. Bariya, todi wari hai. It's now your turn to connect with Gobind, to connect with that Parmeshwar Vaheguru Ji. You know, these two people represent Sugar Singh and Sri Jagjyotmati represent the highest Jeevan we've been given. We've been given this Uttam Kar. Sugar Singh means the Uttam Kar, the highest house. And we've been given Sri Jagjyotmati, that intellect to connect to Parmeshwar, that intellect, that Gurmat. We say, what is Gurmat? Gurmat is what connects us to Vaheguru Ji. Gurbani is Gurmat. That intellect to connect to Akal Purkh Vaheguru Ji, we've been given. And this house we've been given, this Uttam Kar, Sugar Singh, we've been given this house as well. These two characters represent what we've been given, and their faults represent what we trade this house and this knowledge, this intellect away for. Right? We trade away all this for Nibak Kam Swaran, for just a second of pleasure, for a second of enjoyment, and all because we're not content with what we're given right now. With our partner, we're not content with them. We trade all that away for moments of pleasure. The way that Sugar Singh comes and he grabs hold of his death, essentially. He grabs the feet of his death, you know. Guru Sahib's kind of just showing us imagery. Guru Sahib is showing us this concept of turning your back on the Guru, you know, in a story. How when we turn our back to the Guru, we grab the feet of death. We're supposed to be grabbing the feet of Akal Purkh Vaheguru Ji, but we're grabbing the feet of death, and death comes and takes the talwar and strikes us down in a moment of seconds. It's so beautiful to see the creativity of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, the creativity of presenting a concept of Heere jaisa janam hai, kodi badle jaye, into such imagery to show us, you know, and then putting these characters there, just secretly speaking this message to us. So it's just so beautiful to see the mind of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. And these words that we're seeing here, these bachans that we're seeing here is that mind of Guru Sahib. You know, how they speak to the Khalsa, how they're trying to teach the Khalsa. Dohra, Shaho Badu, Choran Hani, Sayyid Nirpako Kae. Guru Sahib says the wife, the Badu means the Istri, the wife of the Shahukar, Jagjyotmati, she's been Choran Hani. The thugs have killed her off, and then the Sayyid Nirpako Kae, and the Sayyid has, Kae means to kill. He's killed off the Nirp means Raja, he's killed off the Raja Sugar Singh. Tavan lodiya hai la gayo apne sadan banaye. And then she jiri Dasi si, the servant Chitrkala, she now has taken away Sayyid with her, and they're going to live off their life however they want to live off their life. It means that now they live happily ever after because they killed off the two people you know, that they wanted revenge from. Gandrab Jaship Jang Gan Narbapure Kinamahe Dev Adev Triyan Ko Pe Pashanat Nahe. Because a lady like the princess that you have married, she has the power to take angelic beings from different realms and destroy them in just a second, and no one can ever see the paid she's coming with. No one can ever see the chalaki, the deception that she brings forward, you know. So the mantris at the end are just advising the king in direct wording that this princess has the power to do these plays like Chitrkala did in this story, and in other stories how the Charitras that have been played, right? The plays that have been played, right? She has the power to do that with you. You know, if a woman has that much power to destroy angels, you know, who are you? You know, she can destroy you in seconds, right? And effectively in Rajniti, in politics, women were seen to be one of the biggest powers that opposite parties would use, right? Because a woman, sometimes you would not suspect them to be lethal, right? Maharaja Charitr Singh had assassins who were women, right? who are bibiyan. Why? Because a woman will come into maybe a king's party or something, and she'll be carrying weapons. The king will never know. She gets closer and closer. The king is enjoying maybe the dance she's doing or the song she's playing, and then out of nowhere, boom, comes off his head. The best assassin is that person you would suspect the least. So for that reason, in Rajniti, in politics, women were a great power that was used. And here the mantris are advising the Raja to note that, to know that a bibi is someone with a lot of power. She has the ability to do anything to you. So she'll be 5 steps ahead of the game. She'll be there where your mind cannot even comprehend. So the 10th Charitra ends here. It's Sri Charitropakhyan ne Traya Chatre Mantri Poop Sanabade Dasmo Charitra. Dasmo means 10th. Samapat ho janda. Must so must. Afju. A lot of people ask, what does must so must mean? Afju means a continuous. Samapat must so must literally in short means that Samapatam Eri Bani Samapt hui hui hai. And then if you want me to do it, I can, but it's a long process. So you would need to know a little bit of Gurmukhi for what I'm about to do. So here, Samapat, right? And must. You take the mamma from here, you put it to the back there. Samapatam. That makes Samapatam here. What you're left with is Sat. Subham. Sat, right? There's a hidden Ada behind each. There's a hidden Ada behind with every letter in the Gurmukhi alphabet besides Uda and Edi. So the Ada comes out here. Ada comes out here. Samapatam means completion, right? Ast means hove or ha, depending on the language. If you're looking at it from Sanskrit or you're looking from Farsi, both ast is used from both languages. Te subam means pala. Pala, welfare, right? Ast again, hoy, right? Or ha. So what that means is that the bani here, the 10th Charitra here has become smapt, and subam ast ke jo padhan wala hai, the person who reads this, ora pala hoy. Guru Sahib is saying, theek hai ji. This is what Samapatam must means. So Sayan the both Tanwad. Please forgive us for any mistakes, and we'll see you in the next session. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.